A different segment this morning as we dive into something perhaps inspirational or motivational, just some good skills to produce better results in your life. Eric Rittmeyer is with us, a former U.S. Marine, expert in the field of mental toughness and emotional intelligence. I love what we're talking about already. He speaks to audiences all over the country, teaching executives, sales professionals how to overcome limits brought on by fear and emotions and then replace them with clear, concise, critical thinking that gets results. So, Eric, I appreciate it. This journey that you're on, teaching this, spreading this, where did that come from?
It started in the Marine Corps initially, and then it really just kind of evolved over the years with dealing with people that were just totally incapable of controlling their emotions. Which is really
a few of them out there, a few of us out there.
Just a couple, sure. So it basically just evolved into this thing, almost a fascination where, everybody that I would meet, it was amazing to me that some of the most successful people weren't the ones who had the highest IQs or had the most advanced degrees. These were people that were able to communicate with others and control their emotions, which is what mental toughness is all about, controlling emotions.
One of the things I hear is that you can't make great decisions if they're emotionally based, that you've got to be able to shut that off or at least balance it. How would you describe that?
Balance is the key. They're inversely related. So EQ and IQ are inversely related. As emotions get high, logic goes low and vice versa. When you're making decisions in an emotional state, you're making poor decisions. Unfortunately, you're going to totally disregard logic. When you do that, you're making bad decisions.
So let's work through a list that you sent me of maybe some advice here. Secrets that mentally tough people use to help them handle any situation. So let's start with one. You said, don't let the feelings get in the way. That's a little bit of what you're addressing there.
It's shelving the emotion, and that's the initial instinct. And unfortunately, we have these beliefs. As soon as statistics prove a point that conflicts with our beliefs, we automatically default to a defense mechanism.
We don't believe the statistics anymore, right?
We don't. They're not statistics anymore because my emotion overrides the statistics. That's a problem with mental toughness because unfortunately, when you allow that emotion to override the facts that are right in front of you, it's gonna alter your decision making, which in business spells disaster.
Yeah. The second one was willing to suspend disbelief.
Yeah, take something that you believe that I believe, me personally, I disagree with you. It's the ability to shelf my belief momentarily, to understand, to hear, to listen to where you're coming from, to accept your point of view and say, okay, we differ on our beliefs. I might be right, you might be wrong, vice versa. It's the ability to shelf that belief long enough to hear your side of the story.
So a little bit of that idiom of walk a mile in another man's shoes. I want to be able to see your perspective, and I got to, so as you put it, shelf my own viewpoint there for a moment.
It's very difficult to do. Number
3, use compartmentalization to find common ground. What common ground? Yeah, that's a really good thing.
What is common ground? Does it exist? Compartmentalization, again, is the ability to take a belief I have and to set it aside. So if I disagree with you on politics, for instance, I'm not going to allow that disbelief to override our agreement on veterans issues, for instance. So unfortunately, with a lot of people who aren't mentally tough, they disagree on something that disables their ability to agree on other topics that they might normally agree on. But because they can't separate each individual belief, they bleed together, and unfortunately, nothing gets done.
I want to talk more on this, but let's get to this fourth piece of advice. You said mentally tough people are professional listeners. That's a skill.
That is a skill, and as males, unfortunately, we're not very good at it. But listening is a very important skill, and it's very underutilized. It's one of the most important things. We were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Unfortunately, people, they don't want to listen, they don't want to hear. Mentally tough people, they listen with the intent to understand, not with the intent to reply.
So now that we've gone through those 4 kind of pieces of advice, who does this apply to? Where can I use this? Is this about my family? Is it about my job? Is it about politics? Where's it go?
It is every single aspect of your life. I mean, it's the ability to view each individual situation based on a belief that you have, but setting it aside and not allowing somebody else to control your beliefs. That's the issue with anything, the whole environment we're in right now. Somebody says something that offends you, and all of a sudden the wheels fall off. You can't take offense to what somebody else says. You have total control over your emotions.
Yeah, so where are you finding people saying, Eric, I want you to talk to the rest of my coworkers, or where are you finding a place that this is really needed or accepted?
Sales teams. I work with a lot of sales teams. I train a lot of salespeople. Unfortunately, they're very delusional. They're not accepting.
Delusional.
They're delusional. They're not accepting responsibility for their results. It's the economy. It's the region. It's something else outside of their control. They're very delusional. Unfortunately, they're not facing the fact that they are the ones responsible, 100% responsible for their results.
Yeah. Let's wrap up here. Last thing. Do you find that other veterans already know these things, or do they need to be reminded of these traits? Because you said you learned them in the Marines.
I did, but we all have to. I have to be reminded daily of these things. I have 2 teenage daughters. I'm reminded daily to keep my emotions in check. So it's not once you have it, you never have to touch it again. Once you have it, you understand your emotions. You have to fine-tune that every single day.
this morning. All right, so